I have been married to Vera for 3 years, together 7. A year ago, I fell deeply in love with Amy and had been planning to end my marriage for her. I know it's terrible and not what my wife deserves, but we were the real thing. 2 weeks ago, she had an allergic reaction when we were getting food after work, but she used her EpiPen and seemed mostly okay afterwards. She usually gets checked at the hospital after a reaction, but I asked if I could take her home and she could get her friend to drive her there because my wife was expecting me back. All I know is that she had a secondary reaction that evening and died. I didn't even find out about it until the following Monday through a work email. It has been eating me up ever since, and I will never forgive myself for not sacrificing an hour of my time to possibly save her. I sent some childish messages to Amy when I didn't hear from her over the weekend, because I thought she was angry I didn't take her to the hospital. I am thankful she never saw them and ashamed that I assumed the worst. Our relationship was great and the highs far outweighed the lows, but I have always hated being ignored, and I lose my cool when it happens. It is not a regular occurrence, and I would have more than made it up to her. Yesterday at work, Human Resource and Legal were in the CEO's office all day, and my manager ended up canceling our project meeting because he was with them all afternoon. I was on edge, but an affair isn't exactly a corporate crisis, and I thought something would have already happened if anyone knew. I am now 99% certain it was about me. A few hours ago, I received a message from Amy's phone, which said, "This is Amy's brother, Tom. I want you to know it was me. I tried to call, but it went straight to voicemail, and none of my messages have been delivered. I tried to call my manager more times than I should have, and he sent a message saying, 'Please don't contact me until Monday morning. I can't discuss anything with you right now.' So it looks like my universe is going to collapse. I am going to be fired, and my wife will definitely find out why. All I can do is hope that Amy's brother only showed them the messages from that weekend, and they were bad enough I have no family, except my wife and daughter, and nowhere to go. All of my friends are either people I've met through my wife or my colleagues. On Monday, everything I've spent over a decade working towards disappears. I can't stop it. I can't talk to anyone about it. So here I am. I know cheaters are the devil. So I'm not expecting sympathy, but this is making my chest hurt, and I need to get it out there. Relevant comments. Somebody said, "Did she report to you? Or did you just use your position to secure a promotion for her purely based on your relationship and not her merit?" Original poster replied, "Her manager is my direct report." I joked a few times in sensual conversations how she still owed me for the promotion, and when she had initially asked about it, I sent her a message with a pretty comprehensive list of reasons I didn't think she was ready. She thought she was. So I asked someone at my level to put a word in. Over the weekend, I basically said that she was unqualified for the role and wouldn't be able to survive doing it anywhere else. I am horrified, but I thought she was being petty and playing games. So I responded in kind. Someone asked, curious, what was the 1% Amy had over your wife? Was it her ruthlessness in pursuing a married man with a young child? Was it her complete lack of moral compass? Was it the fact that your garbage soul recognized her whoracity as equally trashy? Edit changed whorishness to whoracity. It flows better. They're both incredible women, but they couldn't be more different. Original poster replied, "When my wife walks into a room, it's like a hurricane strike. Everybody sits up straight. She's tall and assertive and extremely intelligent. She's funny and quick, and she dominates in a male-dominated industry where they all love her. She's very straightforward, and she can be far too blunt." Amy was softer. She didn't have to be the smartest or the strongest or the most well-read person in the room. She saw her job as a job, and she wanted to raise a family somewhere cozy. We were going to grow tomatoes in the back garden and keep chickens for eggs and as pets. My wife would have designed an automated hydroponic system and signed us up to a subscription for a local egg co-op. They're just different people who touch different parts of my heart and my mind. Commenter. You've literally already said you missed a funeral for a baby to got to an event with your mistress. Don't play like you've never sacrificed your family time before. Original poster replied. Ironically, that agreement was the reason I went with Amy. She had asked for 1 full day and night together each month, and my requirement was that it was booked well in advance. I canceled the first 2, and this one was make or break as we were fighting over something else at the time. There is a lot of context, but I stand by my decision. Obviously, my wife wouldn't understand that perspective, and I don't expect her to, which is why I don't want all of this to be dragged out in the open. Someone said, "You need to tell your wife before someone else does. You already betrayed her. Don't make it even worse." Original poster replied, "I won't know 100% until Monday morning exactly how much my work knows. And there is a sliding scale of how bad this will get depending on how much he has given them. If it's everything, my wife will be crushed. If it's only the messages from the weekend she died, it can be much gentler. I don't want to hurt my wife more than absolutely necessary." Someone said, "Aside from threatening her job and accusing her of cheating." Original poster replied, "I understand how bad it looks. All I can say is that I lashed out sometimes, but it was rare, and I always made things right afterwards. I knew I couldn't fire Amy, and she knew it too. She had enough photos of us and messages on her phone to end me. We had talked about her being in a position of power over me before, and it allowed our relationship to develop as equals, because she had that reassurance. My stress came from the fact that I had secured her a promotion she swore she was ready for, but she wasn't performing at that level. So it was a source of tension in the team. I had to put my neck on the line a few times, and that's very difficult to do without making it clear why I know none of this makes it better. But putting her in that role was a source of regret. So it was the thing I lashed out with. I know it's childish and that I should have put my foot down from the beginning. The way I saw it was just that we help the people we love. The cheating accusation was a misunderstanding. Someone at work asked her out and she declined. But then he entered some mysterious new relationship he wouldn't tell anyone about. The timing was suspicious, and I called it out. I was wrong, and we worked through it. I don't know why I'm back to get ripped apart some more, but I'm really not some evil villain who abused a junior colleague. I made her happy. Update. I have been consistently harassed for an update since posting. So please take it gloat because you're such wonderful people. In comparison, then stop following me around Reddit. I am suffering in the wake of my infidelity and unprofessional behavior, as I knew I would. I understand that it is an appropriate outcome, and I am taking full accountability. I was suspended from work on Monday, and I'll probably be fired sooner than I thought. I'd hoped to be able to save money as Human Resource built their case, but it looks like Amy's brother basically performed the entire investigation for them. After an excruciating 3-hour run-through of everything they had, I spoke to the founder and he recommended the solicitor I am now using. The issue is that the company has to come down hard to protect themselves, because even though Amy's family doesn't have much chance of a claim, any suggestion of a cover-up could cause damage regardless. The founder still thinks my offer to pay them back will keep it out of court, and some more information has come to light, so it's not certain I won't be prosecuted, but I'm quietly hopeful I can't afford to keep the solicitor if this goes much further, especially with a divorce on the horizon. Things are not good with my wife. I'm still committed to making this as easy as possible for her, but I had to draw a line when it came to my daughter. When I got home from being unceremoniously escorted out of my office, she already had a bag packed for me. She wouldn't let me wait at the house until my daughter was back. She wouldn't let me check I had everything I needed. She wouldn't let me take the car, and she didn't care that I had nowhere to go. I spent 2 nights in a hotel, then went back when she refused to let me see my little girl. She tried to stop me, but we own the house jointly, and it was my only option. My wife has a family she could stay with, but she won't leave our daughter here, and she's absolutely not taking her. So we're at a stalemate right now. I'm keeping out of her way as best I can, which I appreciate is the least I can do. The Amy situation is quite difficult to talk about, and a lot hasn't sunk in yet. It turns out that she didn't love me as much as I loved her, if at all. Her brother sent me images of her talking to her friends about me, and it's hard to believe they came from the person I loved, but they are real. Sorry to those who were heavily invested in me being a predatory abuser, but she and her friends had a good laugh about her manipulating me for money and a promotion. The role came with a big pay rise, and it looks like her plan was to treat it as free cash, then go work with one of her friends when it fell through. She knew I'd come under scrutiny whenever she messed up and assumed I'd keep stepping in to save her. She was right. Obviously, I am completely humiliated. I was planning to give up everything to build a life with her, and she was treating me like a joke the whole time. My feelings are complicated. so please don't feel entitled to any expansion on this. But I no longer feel guilt over her death. Reddit acted like I kept her hostage while she begged for help. What actually happened was that I asked if she could ask her friend to take her to the hospital, because I had to go home. She said that was fine, because she needed to get some clothes back from her anyway, and I dropped her off as normal. Ultimately, she was an adult who had a better understanding of her medical needs than I did. I still don't know what happened between us, saying goodbye and her death. But whatever it was, it had nothing to do with me. I'm sorry for her family's loss, but I bear no responsibility for her passing. After Amy's messages to her friends were passed around, a few people quietly reached out with words of support. I assumed everyone would write me off like Reddit did as an abuser and predator. Now it's clear that Amy was using me. They see me as a fool who had then lost it all. It's beyond humiliating, but I have learned I'd rather be pitied than despised. And it improves my legal position with work. They're small mercies, but I'll take what I can get. I remain filled with regret, and I will have learned many lessons by the time I get through this. I may have been deceived, but I am a grown man who made my choices, and I take full responsibility for them. In the comment section, someone asked, "Why are you so obsessed with what Amy told her friends about you? I thought your priority was your daughter." Stop wasting time trying to understand Amy's intentions just because your fragile ego has been torched. Original poster replied, "I can focus on the future whilst having questions about things that have already happened. I can't imagine what a black and white world you must live in. The woman I was planning a life with died. Then I found out she betrayed me throughout the entire relationship. How could anyone immediately accept that and move on with no thoughts or questions?" Someone said, "Affairs can cause emotional trauma on children. How selfish to subject your daughter to trauma just to get your dick wet. Your wife is not weaponizing your daughter. She's protecting her against you. You're not the victim here. Don't act like one. Your wife and daughter are the victims." Original poster replied, "She's 5 years old. If she notices anything is wrong, then we have both failed as parents. Children are adaptable, and they can easily be kept away from situations that should exclusively be dealt with by adults. My relationship with my daughter does not have to suffer because of the breakdown of my marriage. My wife does not get to protect my daughter from me when I have caused her no harm. We are completely equal parents under the law, regardless of whether fathers have rights on Reddit. I honestly can't believe that a father not walking away from his child is controversial. Regardless of what you think of me as a person, it is not in my 5-year-old daughter's interest to have one of the top 3 people in her world disappear." Suddenly a commenter, "Dude, get out of your wife's house. Stay with a friend. Find a studio apartment. But don't torture her like this. She doesn't deserve it. You can't scream about visitation being kept from you when you're not even making an effort to move out. You are very nakedly doing this to keep your wife under your thumb. And it sucks. It really, really sucks." Original poster replied, "It's not her house, it's ours, and I want her to keep it. But right now, it just can't happen that cleanly. I have behaved horribly, but that doesn't magic me up a place to live whilst we figure things out. My income is clearly about to stop, so I can't dip into savings that may be needed to keep us on top of the mortgage. Real people have complicated lives, and just go doesn't cut it. I was prepared to leave in the immediate aftermath and find a way to make it work out of respect for my wife, but I quite simply will not be kept from my child, and I make no apology for that. I don't want her under my thumb and never did. She is going to town on me, and quite rightly. She sees me as a pathetic idiot who was taken in by a young woman trying her luck, and she reads the things Amy said about me aloud every day. She's right. The things she says about Amy are almost cathartic. The things she says about me less. So, she's hurt and angry and trapped, and it's all my fault. I hate what I have done to her more than anything else about this situation." Someone said I had the same question. "So you believe they will be digging through your expenses and asking you to repay any expense related to your relationship with Amy? For what it's worth. I'm not going to behead you. Obviously, what you did to your family was brutal to read, and as a woman, I feel for your wife. I'm also old enough to know that life is messy and complicated, and the heart can lead you to making bad choices. I'm assuming your life over this past year has involved tunnel vision, and all you saw and all you could see was the happy life you'd have once the dust had settled. Amy isn't without fault, as she not only knew you were married with a child, but unlike you, not led by her heart, but her selfish desire to get what she hadn't earned promotion money. I think that after everything that's happened, you should let your wife take your daughter with an understanding that you'll have visitation. Your wife's entire world blew up with one phone call, and she deserves the space away from you without leaving her daughter behind. You owe her that much, and you've acted in your own self-interest long enough. Give the woman some peace. Original poster replied, "Thank you for this. I was willing to leave my home as long as visitation was assured. Unfortunately, my wife is taking things hard enough to want to keep me from my daughter, and it's the one line I just can't see crossed. Now, there is clearly no trust on either side, so I can't leave my home for the foreseeable. A hotel was going to be unsustainable anyway. It would rapidly eat at my savings. I don't blame my wife for being angry and petty and wanting to make me as uncomfortable as possible. In terms of my expenses, I disguised them all under the same client, so they're very easy to identify. It was primarily to hide the evidence of my affair from my wife. It didn't even feel like stealing, so I didn't go to great lengths to hide it. We used to expense all kinds of things. The culture around it was terrible. I realize that's no excuse. I haven't been asked to pay anything back. I offered to as soon as this all came to light. The company may be prosecuting me, but I've engaged with the solicitor, which greatly increases my chances of keeping this out of the courts. It's all still very early days, so what happens next is up in the air. Thank you again for sharing your very sensible thoughts." Another commenter? You gave your wife 2 days. 2 days to absorb and try to understand everything before you demanded your parental rights. To understand not only that you cheated, but that the affair partner is now dead, you might be responsible. You embezzled company funds? You could be sued by not only your employer, but the affair partner's family, and you could go to jail. To understand that she's not only lost her husband, but her life as she knows it. That she might also be financially ruined by your actions. That the health and welfare of your daughter will be impacted by your actions. That any dreams of the future of your family are all gone. You said that you wanted to minimize the impact on your wife, but the moment you didn't get what you wanted, you decided she was the bad guy. You decided that your wants again were more important than anything else. How could any parent who cares one iota about their child think that leaving them in your custody would be safe? Because you said so. The whole world knows the value of your word. You are a stranger to your wife. What woman would leave their child with a stranger who is a liar? Adulterer, embezzler, verbally and financially abusive to their affair partner, and potentially responsible for the affair partner's death. It doesn't matter that you say the situation is different, as there is no value in what you say now. Your actions will impact your daughter even at her young age. Something this big and horrendous will not remain a secret and will follow her throughout her life. You have lost your daughter simply because of the stigma of having an awful parent who could do all these things. People are not kind, even though a child is innocent. You should actually do something right by your family and leave. You being there is not good for anyone, especially your daughter. Original poster replied, "If you think I'm giving up my daughter because my wife's feelings are hurt, you must be crazy. That's not how real life works. I made it clear that I would keep communication purely around my daughter and that I could pick her up and drop her off without my wife even having to see me. There are consequences to my actions and there are consequences to hers. I am prepared to give up a lot during the split, but access to my daughter isn't on the table.